Psalm 143. Hear my prayer, O Lord, give ear to my supplications. In thy faithfulness answer me, and in thy righteousness, and enter not into judgment with thy servant, for in thy sight shall no man living be justified. For the enemy hath persecuted my soul, he hath smitten my life down to the ground, he hath made me to dwell in darkness, as those that have been long dead. Therefore is my spirit overwhelmed within me, my heart within me is desolate. I remember the days of old, I meditate on all thy works, I muse on the work of thy hands. I stretch forth my hands unto thee, my soul thirsteth after thee, as a thirsty land. Selah. Hear me speedily, O Lord, my spirit faileth. Hide not thy face from me, lest I be like unto them that go down into the pit. Cause me to hear thy loving kindness in the morning, for in thee do I trust. Cause me to know the way wherein I should walk, for I lift up my soul unto thee. Deliver me, O Lord, from mine enemies. I flee unto thee to hide me. Teach me to do thy will, for thou art my God. Thy spirit is good. Lead me into the land of uprightness. Quicken me, O Lord, for thy name's sake. For thy righteousness' sake, bring my soul out of trouble. And of thy mercy cut off mine enemies, and destroy all them that afflict my soul. For I am thy servant. See, in verse 1, I find it so wonderful. It says, Hear my prayer, O Lord, give ear to my supplications. In thy faithfulness answer me, and in thy righteousness. These are things, it's about God. It's not about us, which is so wonderful because we are so imperfect and failing. But we're asking here God to, in his faithfulness, answer us, and in his righteousness. Hallelujah. And next it says, enter not into judgment with thy servant. Reiterating here, I am God's servant, I'm your servant. For in thy sight shall no man living be justified. So that's why we need God to answer in his faithfulness and righteousness. Because we don't deserve anything. And I don't know if this would be a true testimony for you. The verse 3, it says, For the enemy hath persecuted my soul, smitten my life down to the ground, made me to dwell in darkness as those that have been long dead. I don't know if you've ever felt like that. And, as in the previous chapter, Psalm 142, it speaks about being overwhelmed. And in verse 4 here in 143, it says, My spirit is overwhelmed within me, my heart is desolate. And verse 5 says, I remember the days of old. We must remember, and I'm sure that there's so much to remember. There's so much I can think of to remember of God's goodness and many, many wonderful things that he's done in the past. And I always think too that there's so many wonderful things that God has been working out and orchestrating that we're not even aware of. So I remember, and I recently heard a sermon from Revelation chapter 2, where the church is being told to remember their first works and that they left their first love. Sometimes we can get somewhere in life where we're not as close to God as we used to be, and we need to remember from where we fell. And at verse 5, remember the days of old. Meditate on all of God's works, muse on the work of his hands. And verse 8 says, Cause me to hear thy loving kindness in the morning. It's so easy to think, I just need to do this and that, and then I can sit down and read my Bible. But let's make it the first thing, because if we start right, we're halfway there. It's so important to start right, because you can never go back in life, you can only go forward. So from here, let's meet with God first thing in the morning. It says, cause me to know where in the way I should walk. When we're not walking with God, everything's gonna become confused, everything's gonna be dark. Like it says in verse 3, we'll walk with God, we meet with him, we ask Him to fill us, He's going to let us know where we should go. He's going to guide in our lives as we continually offer ourselves. As the last part says, verse 8, for I lift up my soul into thee. Continually, God, I'm yours. God, please guide me. Please fill me. And lastly, in verse 12, and of thy mercy cut off my enemies, and destroy all them that afflict my soul, for I am thy servant. Let's make sure that everything is out of the way between us and God. Pray that way. Ask for His help. And remind yourself, because it's us that needs reminding, not really God, that I'm His servant. And let's live life with God, walking with Him, loving Him. That's the most wonderful life of all.